Hello, YouTube. I'm back to report on the Fairly Odd Parents, a new wish after season 1 has wrapped up, and I'm ecstatic here to report that it was a great season. Fantastic, even. They nailed it. 10 out of 10. A New Wish found its groove in the back half, and I would say it became the blueprint of what cartoon revivals should be doing. They found the perfect balance of respecting the stories that came before, but also telling new stories. And I really do respect what they've gone and done here. I previously said that this series lacked some of the chaotic elements that were found in the previous incarnation of the Fairly OddParents, but instead of creating their own chaotic elements, they brought back the chaotic elements of the past in new and creative ways. You always gotta have a good agent of chaos, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. It wasn't broke, so they didn't fix it. They just made some tweaks to fit into their world, and I really do appreciate that. While the first half of A New Wish focused on setting up Hazel's world, I would say the back half started to incorporate the previous Fairly OddParents world into Hazel's world. And I respect that they took the time to build out Hazel's world first, because now Hazel is able to stand on her own, but we also have all these familiar elements from the past, and it all works together. It all folded together perfectly. Everything worked. Everything. In my last video, my major question mark was, where's Poof? And that question mark, it got answered in the mid-season premiere. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, sold. This show knows exactly what people want. We also saw various appearances from fairies like Father Time, the Tooth Fairy, Cupid. We had a redesigned Mother Nature who, what a glow up she had, okay? They also mixed in new fairies like the Music Fairy, and yes, I did pronounce the silent N, thank you. Now, incorporating the fairies, it was an obvious decision because fairies are the key of the Fairly OddParents, but they also went out of their way to incorporate some of the human characters from previously, which if you just left those aside, it would have been fine. But no, they brought them back in the fold in new and creative ways. While we didn't get to see Timmy in particular, we did get to see AJ, and he's now the leader of the Galax Institute, which is a new threat to magical beings, hunting them down. That's definitely to come back into play. Crocker came back, who I name dropped in my last video, like, oh, we need some chaos like Crocker in that school. We're gonna focus so much on the school. No, I'm good with the school now, I'm good. But we did get Crocker back. He's not teaching anymore. He was rejected from the Galaxy Institute hunting fairies, and he let his fairy obsession just completely take over his life. He's just chilling at the Galaxy Institute, trying to get into their fold, trying to get with them, telling them there's fairies. He even had a run-in with Hazel and Cosmo and Wanda where he was trying to get them caught too. It was a fun episode to see Crocker back in his full chaotic glory. We also got to Vicky returning as a party princess entertainer who would secretly use the kids. She'd have them make items to sell on her online shop, which of course Vicky would do that because you get to use more kids at once that way. Even Dale Dimmadome, the son of Doug Dimmadome, got to have a major role this season, even though in the previous show we saw him in what, like maybe 2 episodes. He was in the lemonade stand episode being a victim of Vicky's, working with her for years, and he finally escaped back to see his father. But what a great call to take a minor character and give them such a major upgrade into the new world of Fairly OddParents. Wow, like, impressive. I didn't know at first that that was who he was, but eventually I did figure it out, and like, so cool, okay? Just a great way to really show that it's fans working on this show, and I just respect it. They've really made this a show that adores Fairly Odd Parents and all the aspects of it. Even hated elements of the original series, like Sparky, they were doing Sparky cameos. We didn't see Sparky properly, but they were teasing Sparky, and that's really takes something. I think that's what a good revival should do. Even elements that didn't work in the original, how can we improve on those? Poof was never the most popular character. I mean, Poof had Poof's fans, but Poof was controversial. And look at Poof now. Perry is a fan favorite. I mean, clearly, I tried to go for somewhat purple today in honor. Reincorporating these characters, it was not necessary, but they did it anyway, and it just really shows that it's nice to include all of these elements in the new chapter of the Fairly Odd Parents world. Now on to the characters. Hazel, she's still the lovable main character I called her out for in my last video. She's always positive, always imaginative. Everything you love about Hazel, it's still present. I've really grown fond of Hazel as a character on her own, and she is the show. All these other elements of Fairly Odd Parents aside, Hazel is the best part of the show. We've gotten to learn more about Hazel's interest on her own as the episodes have gone on. I particularly enjoyed the detail about her fascination with rocks and how she wants to be a geologist. Just nice touches, and we're really getting to see into the world of Hazel. I just think, what an amazing main character, what a great role model for kids. Hazel's parents are still loving parents. I've enjoyed everything I've seen from them. We got to meet Hazel's brother, Anthony, in a fun board game episode. The first half of the season, it was mostly focusing on the school elements because they had to not only set up Dev, they also had to introduce the endearing friendship between Hazel, Jasmine, and Wynn. They had that setup done in the first half, so the back half, we got to have more exciting one-off episode adventures, and we got to really dive into some wacky one-off concepts like Hazel becoming a potato. They had a Chuck E. Cheese that was very much horror, which I'm sure many kids could relate to being afraid of those animatronics, okay? And they also had Hazel going through pasta puberty, where she was growing spaghetti out her armpits and all that jazz. It was quite entertaining to see her deal with what the fairies go through during puberty. These episodes were just as exciting as the big plot-heavy episodes. And even though they were just sort of one-off fun episodes that you could watch on their own, they still got to play a role in the finale, some of them. Like, the animatronic from the Chuck E. Cheese episode got to come back in the finale. The dinosaur was back. The trash can was back. And they got to fight against the anti-fairies. Everything was really incorporated, and the finale really put a nice bow on everything. Cosmo and Wanda have maintained all of their positive attributes that have really gotten to take some focus with A New Wish. They're dangerously in love at times, and they're still dumb and dumber, and I love that. There's so much love between those two. It's so wholesome. They have such sweet moments in A New Wish. Wanda in particular has gotten a lot of laughs out of me with episodes like Rattleconda Racers, where she got so sucked into her character that she was playing, and everybody was annoyed at her. But hey, Wanda was dedicated to the world that she was setting up for the board game. Respect. I'm glad to see Wanda really getting to flex her comedy muscles rather than just being around to reel Cosmo in. While Wanda gets to have more intellectual intelligence than Cosmo, Cosmo gets to have a bit more of a focus on emotional intelligence. And that's an interesting dynamic to have play out. While they're both pretty overall, not the brightest bulbs, they get to have their certain areas that they shine in. Now, Cosmo and Wanda. Cosmo has his moments where he gets to be intellectual smart, and of course, Wanda gets to have her moments where she gets to be emotional smart. But I would say more prominence is put on the moments for the others, like I said. Cosmo had a particularly powerful moment in the season finale where he asked Dev if he was upset because no fairy could really give him what he truly wanted. Oh, it just pulled on my heartstrings. What a line that was from Cosmo. Speaking of Dev Dimmadome, the son of Dale Dimmadome, who's the son of Doug Dimmadome. Dev had a pretty brutal emotional arc this season. He was desperate to seek his father's approval. Dale neglects Dev because he's so business focused, but Dev just does everything he can to make his father proud. But Dev's just so lonely, and that's why he ends up getting Poof, who's now Perry. Dev really was the perfect fairy candidate. Ultimately, Dev decides to use the mythical lore of fairies as another thing to try to please his father, as he ultimately turns on Perry and goes to IREP to take over Fairy World and have his father try to rule Fairy World with him. But still wasn't enough though. Now Perry. The appearance of Perry is when I went from enjoying Fairly OddParents A New Wish to obsessing over it. Perry debuted with an awesome new character design, aged him up, and it has elements of both Cosmo and Wanda. I really appreciate that touch. He has a charming salesman type voice, but he still has the childlike innocence that you'd expect from him, given that we have his parents still as the center stage. And of course, you're always going to be a child in your parents' eyes. Dev was Perry's first god kid, and he was just thrown into the deep end of the pool with that one. Oh my goodness. Perry really was trying his best to be the best godparent he could, but it just wasn't enough for Dev, because ultimately Dev wanted more than fairies could ever do for him. You could see how much Perry really cared about Dev. It's unfortunate that things fell apart the way they did. Perry's dynamic with Cosmo and Wanda when they finally reunite, it's very wholesome because they still love him. He still loves them, but Perry wants his independence. He's an adult now. He's got a god kid now. He wants to prove himself and be independent. But he'll always be their little baby Poof. I do appreciate that they have been calling him Perry. No dead naming here. Absolutely. Now, in the finale, we had the threat of Perry exploding into confetti because that's how all the fairies meet their demise. Of course, we knew that wasn't going to happen, but that was the emotional core of the finale as we see Perry getting really sick. He starts to cough up confetti a little bit because Dev hasn't been making wishes with him since he teamed up with IREP. I was glad to see Perry pull through. I was a little confused. I could have used a little clarification there. Okay, well, Dev didn't really make a wish, but okay, I guess you're just teamed up with Hazel now, so it's fine. But I'm pulling for a Dev and Perry makeup next season. Let's see it. Now onto the anti-fairies. They were the main antagonist of this season. They were very much so led by IREP, who was teamed up with Dev. It made for a compelling final arc. Who better to go against the fairies and their opposites? You can't go wrong with the anti-fairies. They're always a good option to really get in there and be a villainous force. And I think the anti-fairies paired very well with Dev's inner turmoil. It made for a good combination. I love that IREP kept the square head, and he also hated changing his name to IREP, but he had to maintain being the opposite of Perry. We got the returns of Anti-Cosmo and Wanda in the season finale. It was great to see them again. They got to mess with Cosmo and Wanda a little bit. That was fun. They didn't have too big of a role though. My favorite anti-fairy revelation this season, it wasn't any of the anti-fairies from prior Fairly OddParents. It was the debut of Leza when we have Hazel in one episode becoming a fairy. Of course, she immediately got an anti-fairy. It was super cool to see Leza and Hazel go at it. Leza was so fun. She's gone now. Hazel's not a fairy. I'd love to see Leza again. Probably one of the cooler episodes. In a season full of amazing episodes, that's probably one of the standouts. So season 1, it ended with Hazel saving the day, taking back Fairy World from the anti-fairies. It was an epic conclusion. Dev realized that he's taken the wrong path. Dev and Dale got their memories wiped, so no more fairy threats from them. But a few characters did not get their memories wiped. Hazel used her millionth wish to have Anthony, Jasmine, and Win keep their memories of the fairies. So now they know. They know about fairies, which is against the rules, but hey, she got her millionth wish and that's what she used it for. We also have Perry part of the fold now. I guess he's just gonna go back to being under Cosmo and Wanda for a hot minute. We all know that Dev's gonna eventually reunite with Perry. Please. For now, we'll probably have Perry in the fold there, so that'll be fun. The last shot of the season is Perry breaking the fourth wall to ask for season 2, and they better listen. I need my season 2, okay? Now, onto some theories for season 2. In my last video, I shared my theory on the Pixies. Now, while that didn't come to fruition, there was talk. I saw that the Pixies were in the original plans. So that setup, I think the setup I pointed out with Jorgen and his redesign and also with Cookie, I think there was something to that. I think we could revisit that in season 2 and really expand on it because we didn't spend too much time in Fairy World. I think they could just push over the Pixies and explore that next season. The Pixies are gonna have to be brought up eventually either way. They're such major figures in the Fairly OddParents world. We gotta know what they're doing. I feel like if anybody's gonna go undercover in Fairy World and get in with the fairies, it would be the Pixies. That's probably my main wish for season 2, but I think there's a lot of other routes for them to take for villains for season 2. I really do want to know though, why did Jorgen get the character design that he did? If it's not broke, don't fix it. His character design, it was a classic. I feel like there's got to be something there. I do. Maybe that's just me getting caught up on small details, but no, I feel like there's something there. Now, Cookie, why is she the way that she is? I'm most curious to see what's going on with Cookie. Why is she like that? Could we see Cookie maybe being an ally for the Pixies? I want to see, would Cookie join up with the bad guys, really? How about an anti-fairy Cookie? Would she align with the good guys? Because, I don't know. I feel like there's so much potential with Cookie in particular that I'd really like to see explored. She's been such a fun character in her few appearances. What else is Cookie doing? We didn't see her anti-fairy yet. I'd like to see it. How will Anthony, Jasmine, and Win knowing about fairies impact the world? We're definitely going to get to see them causing some trouble. They'll also be good allies and people for Hazel to confide in, but just having them out there with the knowledge, it could cause some trouble. It'll be good to find that balance and explore Hazel dealing with, okay, I gotta keep these people in line so they don't go and destroy the world with this fairy knowledge. But she also will need their help, of course, because those are her closest friends and her brother who she adores more than anything. I'd like to see their dynamics with Cosmo and Wanda too. Let's see how they get along. Yeah, that would be fun. When is the inevitable Perry-Dev reunion gonna happen? And how's it gonna happen? Is Dev gonna get his memories back? Or are they gonna act like, okay, we're starting from scratch here? Lots of interesting paths to take forward with that. One of my villain theories is, could Galax Institute really take over and become the main antagonistic force? Maybe Jasmine, Win, Anthony could accidentally reveal that fairies exist and Galaxy Institute would end up having to go to war with fairy worlds. I don't know, something there. We'll definitely see more from the Galaxy Institute. That's just too much potential there. They might just be more minor villains, but I could see them taking up and being the main antagonist too. I wouldn't be shocked. How will Vicky and Crocker stir more trouble? I'm sure we'll see them again. Vicky, she can just pop up in one-offs for now. I'm not sure how she'd really play into a storyline at this point. But Crocker, if he's tied into the Galaxy Institute stuff, maybe he'd be able to actually get in there. Maybe he'd finally catch fairies. I doubt it. I feel like half the fun with Crocker is that he never succeeds. But Crocker would be an interesting foil. And if Galaxy Institute took more of a center stage, Crocker would obviously also take more of a center stage since he's very much obsessed with the Galaxy Institute. What about Mark Chang and the aliens? How could they play into the fold? We got to see them eventually. That's just a looming thread. We did get some alien tease with new aliens this season, but come on, we got to see Mark Chang. We did hear the Icky Vicky song this season. That was very fun. What about Crimson Chin? I'd like to see Crimson Chin go for some superhero hijinks. I think they could really make fun of the superhero genre right now. Bring it back to Crimson Chin. That could be very fun. And maybe Crimson Chin could interact with the new comic book character around town lately that we got this season. I don't remember his name, but he was the ocean guy. Could the previously despised characters of Chloe and Sparky play into the fold this time around? I don't really need to see Chloe, but I think Sparky, if we're going all out on fairies, we gotta see Sparky eventually. Will they give him the Scrappy-Doo treatment and villainize him? I don't think so. I would like to see Sparky redemption. They did Perry. I would like to see Sparky get some redemption. If they can get everybody won over by Sparky, just give them an Emmy or something. Like, wow. It's just a fairy dog. There's a lot you can do with that under the right circumstances. I feel like Sparky in particular, easy fix. Of course, the big question mark is, will Timmy appear? I don't want Timmy to have like a major role. It's just not necessary. I don't really need to see Timmy at all, if I'm being honest. I feel like, whoa, we've moved on, you know, sorry, you're living your life. But I would be excited to see Timmy appear. What's Timmy up to? But let's keep it brief. Let it have an impact, sure. I'd be interested to see what happens with a Timmy appearance. But I'll be fine if I never see Timmy again. I think that wraps up all my thoughts on Fairly OddParents, A New Wish. Make sure to watch it when it comes out on Netflix. I'll try to put a reminder out when I see that it's up. We gotta watch it. I'm gonna watch it again when it comes out. We gotta get the season 2. Please give me the season 2. This is too good. Too much potential. I'm pulling for you, Fairly OddParents. You gave us a great first season. And they'll never be able to take that away from you, no matter what. Season 2, I'll be here. I will cover it. Okay? Well, until next time, bye.